we've had the big protest this week. The government's response, I would imagine, is perhaps not something that you think goes far enough. What do you make of the events of this week?
Well, it's been, quite a long week, to be honest with you. Just come in now from, it's a terrible storm, checking on the animals. It's a 7-day-a-week job. So for all them people to go down to London to make a statement, I think government should have at least listened, and put a statement out there that they're thinking about the decision that they've done. It's never too late to know that you've done a mistake and put your hands up in the air. Because,
And actually, what sometimes happens, Gareth, I used to work in politics, and sometimes what happens when you do U-turn, you say, do you know what? We got it wrong. We listened to people. This is something we shouldn't have done. We're sorry. We're gonna change it. People actually respect people for that. If you just hold your hands up and say, this was the wrong decision, don't they?
Well, I've done it many times. I've got things wrong, especially in farming. And if you don't understand that you learn by your mistakes, well, you'll never go forward. And for us as an industry, this really hurts to see that there's more money going to foreign aid farming, and that is for sustainable food production. Why the heck isn't that used for sustainable, seasonal, local innovation to produce food in this country? We need food security. We need food security. A lot of people haven't been talking about one of the biggest worries that there is in the industry. Yeah, we're going to have to pay 20% inheritance tax if this comes to them. And it's not 20% of the farmers, that the numbers the government have crunched. It looks like it's going to be from 70 to 80% of farmers. So that's a really important fact that the general public need to know. But where it really worries us as well is food inflation. So as a farmer, we're going to have to up the cost to us. We're going to have to, look for that 20%. So the only thing we can do to get that back is to up our products, which is food.
Yeah, because farmers will have to start planning now, won't they?
Of course they will.
For these charges and for this inheritance tax charge, they're going to have to work it out. And I know most farmers have an accountant, and they're going to have to do a bit of financial planning around this, and that's going to affect everybody, as you say, who's buying food, who's buying your product.
But the poorer people in society, the people that Labour should be protecting, are the people that will suffer the most. With food inflation for the poorest people, they won't be able to afford good, nutritious, healthy, seasonal British food. And they'll be eating more junk, which will once again add to the NHS problems: obesity, diabetes, all the underlying mental, emotional, physical problems we have got in this country with the food we're eating. If we could build a better Britain on our bellies, it would be with seasonal, local, sustainable food. And all these things come from farms. Everything will either come from surf or from turf. And we need to get that over, that they cannot be giving money to people and farms from abroad when this country is struggling. So don't bite the hand that feeds you, and charity has to start at home. We want to help other countries, but charity has to start at home. We've got food banks in this country, we've got homeless people, we've got the NHS on its knees, and we've got a lot of other problems.
Just on that point about the NHS on its knees, now I think Rachel Reeves is talking absolute nonsense, by the way, when she says that farmers need to pay this inheritance tax to fund the NHS, because the NHS would be funded for about one day with all of this. The budget is over 200 billion a year, so this would be about one day. But there are people who say, well, hold on a second, farmers, everybody else pays inheritance tax, why shouldn't you? And I wonder if you could sort of explain this point a little bit, Gareth, because there are people who sort of say, what is...
what percentage of people pay inheritance tax in the UK, Peter?
Tell me.
4%.
Okay. Because most people don't have the kind of assets that a farm has.
That's our working capital. That's our working capital.
No, I get that. I'm not disagreeing with you. And a lot of people don't understand that, do they?
That's what I'm saying. 4% of people. 4%.
And farmers are often asset rich, but cash poor.
Yeah, very cash poor at the moment, because, the products we're producing is still affordable to the masses. So can you see where I'm going in this vicious circle? It's going to cause so much carnage and so much problems for a tiny bit of money coming in, which is going straight out. We might as well just pay farmers from abroad and then ship in food that they say then is
do you think that's the government strategy here? Have they thought this out? I mean, I am very much of the thought that most things that go wrong are cock-up rather than conspiracy. But is there more happening here? Is there stuff that we're not thinking about in terms of saying cheap food from abroad?
Let's look at how much money they're spending on carbon catchment. Let's look at it. It's billions. It's billions. That money would have been much better set up to watch after the people in this country, the poorer people, the schools, the NHS, because we are 1% of the whole carbon emissions of the world. You've got China, you've got India, and we're supposed to be leading in this by capturing all this carbon while other people are going hungry. If we dropped into the sea tomorrow, the United Kingdom, it wouldn't make an iota of a difference to the carbon catchment. You know, we've got to be, honest with each other about this. We need to feed the nation affordably, healthily, nutritiously, and it's the farmers that are doing that. And if we don't have food security, Peter, look what's happening out in Russia and Ukraine now. Look what happened in Spain, where a lot of our, salads and some veg are grown and some of the soft fruits, and it's all shipped into the country. Big floods out there. If these people aren't careful, we are definitely sleepwalking into food shortages. And if you think the toilet roll fiasco during COVID was a problem, imagine there's no food on them shelves.
Well, exactly. It's a very, very good point, Gareth. What do you want to happen now?
Well, we want the government to look at what they've done and take it away, scrap it. Or if they were going to do it, if they say they wanted to hit the richest people, your Dysons and your Clarksons, why didn't they put that top level at 8 or 9 million? That £1 million is literally 80% of the farmland, and every single farm is working capital. My family's been on this farm for 375 years. Okay, I could be the last generation here. My father has never had a passport, never bought a new car, he's never been on holiday. He's invested into this land to make sure that there's a future for me and for my children going forward. And these people come in and they try and rob that from under our nose. We pay taxes, but we are producing the food that's affordable. That's why we're subsidised to do that. Otherwise, we're out of business and nobody gets fed.
Gareth, thank you. You make a really powerful argument. With Gareth Wyn Jones there, he's a cow and sheep farmer in Wales.